This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we do encourage you to like and share them on Facebook and other social media. Because it's time. Carebox presents Careology with your friend Roxy.
Thank you, Cliff. How are you doing?
Pretty good so far. Multitasking as usual.
That's
Looking
good.
busy, but not really.
You're looking busy. You're looking busy. Hi, everyone, and welcome. It's Tuesday, March 2nd, and welcome to Careology. Careology, whereas we care and we support for our community, and we are supporting our community for a new you. This show is proudly sponsored by Lexus, Treasure Coast Lexus, and my co-host this evening is Colleen Walts.
Hi, Roxy. Good evening.
Did I say that right?
You
Waltz?
did.
Waltz. Okay, I was
Perfect.
about to say the Z. And Colleen is from 211, so welcome. It
Thank
is
you
so
so
great
much.
to have you.
Happy to
And
be
we
here.
just want to, I know, it's been a long
I
time.
know. It has.
I know. And I just want to tell everyone that Careology is a subsidiary of CareBag Incorporated. We are a nonprofit supporting those in need in our community with proper hygiene and wellness. Remember, proper hygiene is a right, not a privilege. And those that are tuning in for the first time, welcome, welcome. We are so happy to have you. And our show this evening is going to be with 211. And CareBag is on 211, correct?
You are.
And I found something out that I didn't know, which was very, very interesting. I know that 211 is in all 50 states, including District of Columbia, D.C., but I didn't know two things, Puerto Rico, and then I just found out less than half a minute ago, internationally. So we're nationally and we're international.
Yeah, it's very
Hold-
exciting. We are in Canada now, which is
Oh.
so super cool.
Well, everyone knows I'm ready to go to Canada. Hold on, that deserves... Yes, it does. We are happy because that means people can get more help.
Absolutely.
And I love that. And it's, I always do my research. I didn't really have to do that much research on 211 today because being part of 211, which we are really excited about because a lot of our calls, a lot of our clients that we have coming in are 2 a.m. calls. We do get calls at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Those are the people that are under the most stress. And it's good that they can call anyone. You pick up your phone, you dial 211, anything you need. The first show we had, we were letting people know, if you need to get help and you need, someone to talk to, that's the first thing we told them. You were one of our topics on our first show. Dial 211 because that is how you get a support. That is how you get to the nonprofits. If you are a legitimate nonprofit here and you are with 211, you've reached that echelon because they're not going to put anybody on. That's
Absolutely.
correct.
Yep.
You have to give a service to the community. And I love it that anything you need that you can get. And we want to talk about that. But we always talk about other stuff. And I was looking for some good news. There's always good news. We need it. I didn't find any. Unfortunately, I didn't find any. So I decided I want to just give something about the power of joy. It can be difficult to define, and it's often short-lived, but joy is life's most cherished emotion. And Careology is about supporting our community, making someone find something from what else, other than news. We're bombarded with, everything that's going on in the world, and sometimes you need a little joy. And without joy, that's one of the shows we talked about before, right before our inauguration was peace. Without peace, you can't have joy. Without joy, you can't find happiness. And that's something I wanted just to keep people in mind. Don't mind the little people running around inside your head. They've been there since the moment you were born, and they'll be there with you for your life, and they're responsible for every feeling you've ever felt. That's at least in the conclusion of some of the finest work ever done on the topic of emotions in general and joy in particular. So we all have sad moments. We all have happy moments. We go through our emotions, and that is normal. And I wanted to say that because that's what it's having you here. And 211 is so essential for our community, and a lot of people don't know that. So we're going to go down a little bit. We're going to go back and forth. One of the things that I've noticed and I've enjoyed finding out is that one, you can call 211 from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you call 211, and my name is Roxy. How can I help you? And the first thing they would say is,
Well, first when you do call 211, you're gonna hear an automated message, and that's gonna actually help our resource specialists really tailor the calls. If it's a crisis call, if it's a veteran call, what are they really getting into? Also, it's a way for us, if it's a Spanish speaker or someone that's not a primary English speaker, they can actually tailor that to go to the resource specialist that could speak their language.
Okay, how many languages do you cover?
So right now it's Spanish and Creole and English, but we do work with third parties. So if there's, maybe a deaf or hard of hearing person, we can certainly utilize some of our contracts to be able to reach out to those individuals too.
Love it.
But yeah, that's the first thing. So once they actually go through that, gatekeeper, if you will, then it's going to go to our live feed where you're going to go to our next resource specialist that's available. We're really proud to say that the longest hold time anyone will ever have is about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Typically it's less. And we always answer our crisis calls first for obvious reasons.
Right, definitely. Well,
first.
we're definitely going to get, because everyone knows that anyone that's been listening week after week knows that's something that's very close to my heart. I believe therapy is important. I believe you can always use someone to talk to. Sometimes you can't talk to your family, you can't talk to your friends. Their mouths are like little chapper and spread your business all over the place. But a therapist that you talk to, it stays. Whatever happens there stays there.
And that's what we get a lot of times. Our callers will say, we just wanted a third-party, non-judgmental ear. I'm maybe not even looking for resources. I just want to talk about my day. I just want to vent, or if they've had a fight with a spouse or a child, or just they want to talk.
But talking is good. That's the thing.
So good.
Talking and crying go hand in hand. If that emotion is not let out, then that's the problem. So I have dubbed 211 as the one-stop shop.
Yep.
That's it, the one-stop shop. That's where you can get everything. So the types of referrals that come through 211. First of all, we have our basic needs and resources.
Yes.
So what does that include?
Yeah, so let me kind of go over a little bit about 211, just, for our callers and listeners that don't really know about 211. We're a national crisis hotline and a community referral line. And as you mentioned earlier, we exist both nationally and internationally, so you do not have to live in South Florida or even in the Treasure Coast or Palm Beach for that matter. If you have friends or family any other parts of the country or international, have them call 211 any time of the day or night. We are in existence 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So we exist basically to get people connected to resources, and if they are feeling that emotional distress, we're able to de-escalate them through the techniques that we have. All of our call agents are actually mental health first aid trained, so we're very proud to offer that. It's typically a mixed bag if they are either psychologists, they're students going for additional licensure. We do have over 100 hours of actual certification that they have to go through to even pick up the phone lines to speak to someone.
Okay.
So yeah, what you were alluding to is our resource database. For us locally here, we represent the Treasure Coast, which is Martin, St. Lucie, Okeechobee, and Indian River. We also handle Palm Beach County.
Right.
So over those 5 counties that we serve locally, we have about 1,600 agencies in our database.
Wow, 1,600. That should make someone feel comfortable to know that it's not just 5 or 6 people sitting there needing volunteer hours. These are individuals agencies that come with credentials.
Absolutely, like
and
Care
that's
Bag.
good.
Exactly. You guys are one of our listed agencies, and we work with, like I said, 1,600 others. So it's very few and far between that we are just going to have our hands in the air saying we can't have no resources for you. That really
it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. We can really pull strings with our partner agencies and get people the help that they need. But the biggest calls that we do get are, like you were saying, basic needs. So that's the housing, that's the food assistance, that's utility assistance. Monetary donations and things that people need, clothing, shelter. I mean, all of that goes into the basic needs. And then we also have mental health counseling. So again, we can refer to community-based programs. If these residents need that aftercare support, then we can get them connected to some of our partner agencies that offer more in-depth case management. But we also are able to, like I said, de-escalate them over the phone and get them connected. Just talking to us.
Just talking to them. Because we had New Horizons was our first guest that we had on. And because of the pandemic, the COVID, the being shut down for a year, some people are still home. Some people are still scared. You go through a lot because I am out there. I haven't stopped, but I found out that I felt away. And so I got into plants.
Yeah.
I never knew. I used to kill a cactus. Now my veranda, my patio is just beautiful
That's
with
amazing.
plants. And I'm a dog person, so
too.
therefore, it's just you have your dog. My dog was my therapy. My plants were my therapy. But some people might not have that.
Absolutely.
So I was happy to have New Horizons on. The number was long, but we let them know if you need them, call 211.
Yeah.
So that was a good thing. I
Yep.
don't open up the phone lines, but if anyone has a question for Mrs. Waltz, and they would like to, they can go ahead and dial 772-340-1590. And they can go ahead and call, and we have Cliff that is multitasking and one more thing to put to his task. But if you have any questions, I decided I'm going to open it up just in case someone has a question they want to ask. This is the time to do it, and we'll be happy to go ahead and help you. Yeah. So I'm with the basic resources because I get a lot of calls from that. So not all the time I can help, but I always put them through to the next person who can. So I love that. So you also have here now, okay, I'm going to skip that one because I want to come back to that one. Work support. What do you do for work support?
So we do a lot of employee services. So career services really is kind of the umbrella it falls under. But for anyone that's looking for a job that, obviously very relevant now during the pandemic and COVID, people are losing their jobs left and right and don't know what to do. So a lot of times our callers will say, I have just been laid off from work. I don't know where to go from here or what's available to me. So we can help them navigate, whether it's doing the unemployment, realm, or if they are looking for a job, we can get them connected to Career Source, for example, which is a fabulous agency here in the Treasure Coast and in Palm Beach, and get them connected to some of our agency representatives that can be able to help them in that time of need. So we do offer that through our agencies.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
And we went ahead and we talked about that, access to services in non-English languages.
Yes.
So we talked about that, and foreign language services vary by location, which is wonderful because this is the land of America, and this is the land, the same way this is the land of opportunity, this is the land of multicultural.
Absolutely.
So it's nice to know that it doesn't matter what situation you're in, you can dial 211.
Absolutely. Any time of the day or night, Spanish and Creole translators are...
Dos, uno.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can't do Creole. I'm sorry. I don't want to mess that up.
But yeah, no, absolutely. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And again, they do not have to be a primary English speaker, and they are live representatives.
Right.
So you're not going to get a, computer to speak to you or, that digital. We all hate calling those customer service numbers and you're stuck online for 45 minutes. It's not like that. It's a live representative.
You know what kills me? I'm an operator, but you can talk to me any type of way. And I want to scream.
I love when I have to call, some customer service, and then I wait for 45 minutes, and they say, our offices are now closed.
Oh,
Please call again tomorrow.
Oh,
and that's not the case.
But you're not going to understand what I tell you because you're a robot, so I have to hang up.
Yes, and that's a really important thing about 211 too, is that we triage every single call that comes through our doors. So whether that's someone that's really, in a very desperate part of their lives and maybe contemplating suicide, to that's someone that's looking for a local toy drive during the holiday seasons at a local church. We get the full gamut of calls that you can imagine.
Well, let's talk about that because suicide is one of my topics, and unfortunately, I have had individuals close to me that have lost family members, one way or another through this, and it's one, I don't know what to start to tell them. That's number one. I don't even know how to contemplate that because it's a different type of loss. It's a really different type of loss. But let's talk about that because I sit on a board and I get a lot of information, especially about our youngest. And one of the conversations I had with someone today is we had a couple weeks ago, I think it was a 12-year-old girl that committed suicide. And she found out how to do it through watching a video on YouTube. And this is, when someone said, well, Roxanne, I said, well, this is what you want parents to know. Watch what your children are doing. I have a girlfriend and she's always watching what her daughters are doing, and she'll go through the history and she'll check it. She'll check it on her phone. She'll lock it down. Unfortunately, as good as the internet is, as good as the web is, as good as getting all this information, we're streaming live on iTunes. We're on TuneIn, we're live on WPSL, we're live on Facebook, and that's good. But you also have the negative side, and that is the negative side. So can you go ahead and just elaborate a little bit more on that for us, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously being a crisis line, that's one of the top calls that we are getting, you know, unfortunately, especially through the pandemic and beyond. So an important thing to note, 211 locally and nationally, we actually are a regional responder for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number. So a lot of people are not familiar with that.
Right.
So a lot of people know the 1-800-273-TALK number.
Right.
It's a national recognized number across the United States.
But they don't know 1-800-SUICIDE.
No.
Or 1-888-SUICIDE.
Yes.
Or 1-877-SUICIDE. And we're going to be right back with that information. So, Colleen, we're going to be back. And we're going to go ahead, Cliff, and we're going to have the numbers right when we come back. So you're good information. Give us a call if you want some more information. Thank you.
You're listening to Careology with Roxy on both WPSL and Facebook. And it'll be archived eventually on YouTube.
If you could reimagine the way you buy a car, what would you do? Make it simple, make negotiations disappear, demand transparency, then experience amazing at your Treasure Coast Lexus dealer. Car Buying Simplified. Treasure Coast Lexus is a proud sponsor of Careology. Every Tuesday at 6:05 p.m., caring and supporting for our community. Car Buying Simplified. Check out your Treasure Coast Lexus dealer. Why call Two Men in a Truck of the Treasure Coast? You want to move your business without moving a single meeting? You want it handled with no fuss. Lots of stuff, no time to move it? You need the pros that care. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck of the Treasure Coast. Family owned and operated franchise. Call 772-236-0827. 772-236-0827. Movers who care. Visit Two Men in a Truck, treasurecoast.com.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
And now, back to Careology with Roxy.
Welcome back. And if you are just tuning in with us, I have a special guest, and it is Mrs. Colleen Walts. Mrs. Colleen Walts, no Z, from 211, and we are talking about the services that are to our, not only to our community, they are to our community, they are national, they are international. So there is no need to suffer. That's basically it. It's a one-stop shop. There's no need to suffer.
We always, our little tagline is help starts here at 211. So I love that.
I love that. Help starts. But if you guys want to go ahead and use my little tagline, one-stop shop, go right ahead. I love that. But that's what it is. Help stops here because it's a one-stop shop. Everything you need. It doesn't matter what language you speak. It doesn't matter. You should not sit home and you should not be alone in silence.
Absolutely.
There is no need for that. There is always someone here. And if you've been following us here at Careology since we started January 5th, you know that has been our line. Careology is here for the community to support the community. It's not necessarily about our nonprofit Care Bag. Care Bag does a lot in the community, but we can't do it unless we have partnerships and good collaborations. And 211 is one of our partners, and anyone that needs help, they can call and they immediately get our number and call us. We've gotten calls with mothers in cars 2-3 o'clock in the morning, or people coming out of prison, just needing something simple as a toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant. This is where they call, or you can call now because people are feeling really disconnected, very, very much disconnected. So we're going to go back and touch on what you said. And there's so many numbers you said we have for suicide. But give us you have the floor. Go ahead and let us know what's going on.
I was alluding to that we are the regional responder for the National Suicide Prevention Line number. And what that means is that if there's anyone from the areas that we serve, being that 5-county region of Palm Beach and the Treasure Coast, if they're actually calling out or reaching out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, it'll automatically kick back to us locally at 211. So just so people are familiar with that, we are answering the calls for the national line. But I did want to share too, because I did bring up some things, because we are accredited through the National American Association of Suicidology, and the National Lifeline as well, too. And something that I found very interesting digging into this is that we have seen quite an uptick of our suicide-related calls at 211 just because of the pandemic.
Yes.
Exactly. So we have noticed a 12% increase of our suicide-related calls from 2019 to 2020, which that should be staggering across the board. We know that there are people out there and residents that live in our communities that are contemplating harming themselves.
Yes.
So that's just the reality of the situation. I did want to share that last year, so from March of 2020 to March of 2021, we handled over 3,300 suicide-related calls across the Treasure Coast. And in 2019 to 2020, from the March of that same time frame, was 2,900. So you can see, again, that uptick that's happening.
That was a jump. What about age-wise?
Yeah, so it kind of really is across the board. We are a confidential crisis line, so we're really only capturing the information of what our callers really want to disclose to us, but it really is across the board. A lot of adults, a lot of our teenagers, a lot of our youngsters are calling in, a lot of our seniors too. They're really slipping through the cracks. And we do have a veteran program as well, and they're reaching out with PTSD and struggling. So our veterans are a very underserved community too that we're getting those calls from. So
we deal with the veterans. We deal with the veterans, and we have a lot of shut-in.
Yeah.
So CareBag goes to Indian River, and we have a young lady out there, Teresa, I call her T, and she goes to the homes. After we do the food pantry, she goes right to the homes to our shut-in.
Amazing.
And then on Thursdays, we have shut-ins here. I know Graceway Village has some, but we have some that we go to on Thursday.
Yeah.
And now we're doing in Hope Sound, and CareBag will be starting in Hope Sound on March the 12th. So we'll be out there once a month. And I love their program, just like in Indian River and here. They go to the homes because our elderly, it's not, usually it would be drop off a bag, half hour, I'm done.
Right.
This is a 3 to 4 hour escapade.
See, that's amazing.
Because when the minute you say, here you go high, and you're backing away because it's COVID, it's a conversation because they haven't seen anyone. There are no families visiting, and they're higher risk.
Yep.
And it's just really sad.
And we actually have, and that's exactly right. And we have a program similar to called our Sunshine Senior Wellness Program because we were seeing the need of all of these shut-ins and these elderly folks that are not getting the attention they need. So our call center will actually reach out to these individuals.
Wellness checks, you told me.
We do the wellness checks.
Yeah, I love that.
We call every day just to give them a friendly hello, see how they're doing. It's also a really wonderful way for our resource specialists to assess them. So if they say that, I'm not going to my doctor's visits because I don't have a car, well, guess what? We can check our database and see what agencies are able to provide transportation for that individual. Right. Or if they haven't had a hot meal for that day, we can look and see what agencies like Treasure Coast Food Bank or some of our other partner agencies.
Or if they need hygiene items.
If they need hygiene items, we can reach out to Care. So it's a really wonderful program for us to be, really on the forefront because, as you said, oftentimes these individuals are not having human-to-human interaction. So again, it's a way for us to show that we care, to really give them that call out. It's completely free, like all of our programs and services. So we call about 500 residents right now currently, and that program currently has the expanse to really,
of course,
grow. So
because this is not going away anytime soon, and the vaccine is here, but we still haven't had a handle on it.
Sure. And
I have we have the buses in Port St. Lucie, and there's a bus that pulls up. It'll pull up next week, either Tuesday or Thursday, and I have maybe 11, 12 seniors on a bus.
Wow.
And I can't afford for them to come out because we don't have the space.
Sure.
So we're running back and forth from the office to the bus, filling out every order because we have maybe 5 clients on the bus. But when they hear that, okay, my needs can be met, we don't turn anyone away.
And the wonderful thing I love about CareBag, too, is you're really seeing the trajectory of that person that are really coming in at the most hopeless point in their lives, potentially. And you're seeing them, treated with dignity and having the opportunity to shower and get the things that they need. And I'm sure that you probably have a billion stories to share of seeing the hope and the light come back in these individuals' faces. And I think that's wonderful.
That's why it's called Careology for the community, because if it was CareBag, I wouldn't need you here. But we see it, but it's what they can get.
Yeah.
And I tell them, call 211.
Sure.
And I forgot about the wellness check.
Yeah.
So I have to start letting them, because now they have someone to talk to other than Roxy and other than Sandra and other than Janice. Those are my sunshine girls in my office.
There you go.
We have one lady that comes in and she'll come there. She'll have the bus drop her. She knows we open at 10 and the bus will drop her by 10 because sometimes I get there and she's there. And she'll sit down there a good 2-3 hours with us.
Wow.
But she's lovely, you know, and it's just hearing the stories. And what we have to understand, our seniors, our elderly, they've put a lot into the community, and they need that respect back.
Absolutely,
they need that respect back. And what annoys me is having a veteran that I need to give underwear to, or I need to give a shower to, or I need to give deodorant to. That should not be in my book. That sentence should not come out of me out of a nonprofit.
I completely agree with you, and it's a soft spot for me personally too. You know, the veterans have fought so hard for our country and protected us, and for them to slip through the cracks the way we have, you know. And
they're not slipping through the cracks; they're just dropping through an avalanche. Let's be honest. Me and you know, we are not politically correct on this show at all. So just say it like it is. We treat our veterans are treated very badly, and we have. I have some good people that we work with, and I have some good individuals that, you know, that sponsor, that donate to CareBag, and that's something that's a part of them. You know, our new trailer was given to us by the Bush Family Foundation, Treasure Coast Hope for the Homeless, Richard Del Toro, and Leonard, A.G. Pools, Leonard. And one of the spots for them is the homeless. And our first trailer, when we had our first mobile shower trailer, we actually did the standoff, the veteran standoff.
Oh, amazing.
And
I remember I was at that event.
Yeah, and it was so good to know that that's the first time it was good, but then I remember leaving and I got so angry. They're like, Roxy, what's wrong? I'm like, we shouldn't be here. Our veterans should not be getting showers in a parking lot for people to see. You know, I'm glad we can do it, but let's be real. These men volunteered to give their life. Many have lost their lives to fight that we can stand up here and chit chat. And I said, now, you know, it's just sad. You know?
I agree, and I will be honest with you. You know, I attend a lot of community events, you know, pre-pandemic, and the stand-on event is one of those that really speaks to me. To really see these veterans come up to my table and have a conversation with me, and I agree completely with you. It's something that really pulls at my heartstrings, and you know, and as many resources we can invite for all the community, I think is important. But our veterans in particular, and you know, relating back to suicide. They're one of the highest demographics that we're seeing of, again, with that PTSD and readjusting back to civilian life if they've seen active duty. It's a tough time for them, and they're struggling. And the veterans have one of the highest suicide rates across the nation. So the more we can give access to care and get them connected is definitely the name of our game and helping them out.
Well, I have a question for you, because we're on Facebook, and we have, if someone doesn't want to call in and they want to go to our CareBag Facebook page, they can. And one of the questions is from our she is a religious careologist. And so many people are concerned about privacy. Can you explain how 211 handles sensitive calls?
Absolutely. So I did mention earlier that we are a free and confidential community helpline and crisis line. So we never ask, let me back up. You never have to divulge any information to us about your name or any financial information. We don't ask anything like that. The only information that we do capture, if you would like to share, is for our funders. Because our funding agencies would like to know, where they're calling from, what the demographics are, what really truly the needs are in the community. But it's never anything. It's completely optional information. So
if I called in and I said my name was Minnie Mouse, we're going to talk to Minnie Mouse.
We're going to talk.
I love it.
The only thing I will tell you that we will need is the zip code to where you're located, because obviously if we have an Okeechobee resident, for example, we don't want to give them something in Indian town or someplace that's out of their area. So we do need your zip code to be able to get you connected to the most local resources available to you. But yeah, absolutely. You can call us, say you're Minnie Mouse. You can call us and, you know, anything you'd like. But yeah, we're happy.
Please don't use Roxy. To those listening, please don't use Roxy. Cliff, don't call and use Roxy.
Very good. Yeah, but absolutely. And you know, the other thing too, we do not talk to your employers. We do not talk to, you know, anyone in your personal lives to let them know about what is discussed. So a lot of people will say, you know, are you going to tell my employer that I called looking for mental health resources or anything like that? And that is not the case. Absolutely not. So we are confidential.
And I love that. And that's why I wanted you on, because I know I know what you I know what you do, and I know how important it is for people to understand. So we have, what is one of the myths that you can debunk? What is a common myth about 211 that you can debunk for us?
Oh gosh, wow. Well, I always joke and I feel like that we're the best kept secret across the Treasure Coast and Palm Beach and really nationally too. So I guess probably the biggest myth is that you're only available in Palm Beach and the Treasure Coast, or you're only available in Minneapolis or New York City or, other places. And a lot of people think that it's only in their local area, but we are national. So I guess that's probably the biggest.
No. Let me correct you. We are national and international.
International. Our Canadian friends.
Our Canadian friends. So,
please call 211.
Dial 211.
Yeah.
If if you have a question that you'd like to ask our guest here, please go ahead and call 772-340-5090. We'll be happy to take any call relating to 211 Helpline, and just to know it's there for you. So, what advice would you give someone if someone wanted to go ahead and say, I want to volunteer at 211? What advice would you give them?
Well, I think that's wonderful, and we are always looking for dedicated volunteers, obviously. Our headquarters are actually down in Palm Beach County, so that would be the first thing. We have a lot of Treasure Coast residents that, would like to volunteer, and just to know that we are located down there. As we go back into opening up and doing more event seasons and things that are available, I always have volunteers with me at tabling events and things of that nature here in the Treasure Coast. But you can always go to our website, which is www.211treasurecoast.org. There's a Get Involved tab on our main website. If you go there, it will have all the information. And also for students, too. Like I said, we have a lot of students that are looking for licensure or looking to work in the mental health field. It's a wonderful opportunity for you to get that on your resume, to be able to move on to whatever your career takes you.
That was kind of my second question going in, but I'll answer that. Are there any resources that have really helped you on your journey that you saw with 211?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Yes.
Welcome to Careology.
Yeah. Wow. Digging deep. There were so many resources. I think one of the parts, I work in community relations, so I'm not someone that's on the phone lines answering the calls every single day of talking, to individuals that are truly in really heartbreaking situations. I'm really the face of the organization in the Treasure Coast. So I'm going
to stop her, everyone. Without Colleen, the resources that 211 needs locally, she gets deep down. We're at meetings, she's there. What do you do? Let me find out about you. So do not diminish what you do, because it is the reason why why CareBag is on 211 and other nonprofits, because locally we make up what 211 has to offer.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Yes,
Continue.
I have a very important role at 211. Absolutely,
Thank
I do.
you.
But yeah, I would say probably the biggest thing that impacted me was actually training with 211 and sitting on the lines. So not actually speaking to our callers,
just
but
listening.
but actually listening in. And I will tell you, our resource specialists are rock stars at 211, because I have heard suicide-related calls, and I have heard them, spend as much time as they need with that individual and getting them connected to help and listening in, and then hanging up the phone and then picking up the next phone call, being someone looking for back-to-school supplies for their child that lives,
it's just one.
It's just back to, and we could be 100 calls deep sometimes. Or I will be honest with you too. Around the Parkland shooting, we were activated to be able to provide grief counseling and things of that nature for those residents. And our callers were just flying off the hook. They could not even leave their stations, and we ordered pizza in for them because they couldn't move. They couldn't move, and that is just so impactful to me to see our resource specialists work as hard as they do. And even through this pandemic, we are getting calls constantly from people of all walks of life looking for resources, and they're there every single day to help these people, and that's wonderful.
This is a challenging time. One of my diva ladies were in, because our office is open, Tuesdays and Thursdays, so we were open today, and we were just busy. I mean, she got in, and we had a plan on what we were going to do. Never happened. Thank you, Janice. And thank you, Sandra. And but it was just crazy. It was just seeing it. These are moms, these are dads, all walks of life, all denominations. There's no separation here. These are just individuals in need. One lady came in and she said, "Oh my goodness, you're the third place I went to," and this was 10:30. This was 10:30 a.m. And this is the third place she went to. And the only thing she wanted were Pampers to change her baby now. Now. And we get them, we see that. And then we have our elderly. And then we have our disabled moms come, our moms with their disabled children, because the insurance is not covering the depends. And I want people to I say that every week because I want people to know that I thought Pampers used to be one of the main things that we needed to carry, but depends for our elderly, for our veterans, especially our male veterans going through the prostate. We have a lot of veterans that are going through that. I don't know why. I don't know if it's something that happened in Nam, whatever.
And it goes back to that dignity.
It goes back to that dignity. And she's like, and she was pulling out her wallet. Well, what do I need to show you? I said, you're good.
Yeah.
I said, you're good. And she's like, the crying was there. And it was, Grozer Builders went and gave us some beautiful Bibles that we go ahead and we hand out. And she said, I said, honey, take it, please. That's what it's there for. Yeah. Please take one. And she was just happy, that she was able to go ahead and just get the dignity.
I love that, because I think that is so relevant to both of our agencies, because that moment, it makes the difference in that person's life. And you see it every day. We see it at 211 every day. And we get calls back all the time of people saying, thank you so much for helping me yesterday. Because of your resources and because you talked to me, I, put the gun away. Or I got the help I needed in that time. And that is just so important.
It is. We're going to be back with Colleen with 211. This is good. This is going to be one of my favorite shows, Cliff. It definitely is.
Well, the archives, it'll be there for a long time, and somebody might be turned around in the process as a result of watching an archive of this show.
We're going to have the archives. We have them at WPSL, YouTube. They also be on CareBag's webpage, and we keep it on our Facebook page. So we'll be right back with some interesting information on our 211 National International Helpline. Thank you. Thinking of building your next home or renovating? Come see us at Grozer Builders. We will create a home suited for your lifestyle. With years of experience means we give you a complete professional service, from a dream to a concept. You will get the best results, best value, best quality is what you get from Grozer Builders. Visit us at grozerbuilders.com. You deserve better. You deserve Grozer. All Roads Truck and Auto Repair. They get it right the first time. Call 772-266-3303. All Roads Truck and Auto Repair. All roads lead here. When you want it done right, call 772-266-3303. Tell them Roxy sent you.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
And now back to Careology with Roxy.
Roxy and Colleen, thank you, Cliff. We do appreciate everyone that helps us with Careology, and thank you, Treasure Coast Lexus, for being our main sponsor. And if you're just tuning in with us, we have Colleen Walts, Mrs. Colleen Walts with 211, and we're talking about what the one-stop shop has to offer in our community, nationally, internationally. And while we were taking a little break, everything I do is digital. Everything we do is digital, because we have so many youngsters, we have so many young people, we have some can handle their phones, some can text. But just with that conversation, when I was going and looking online, I saw that 211 now has an app.
We do.
And not only do you have an app, you can text, you can chat. So if you don't want to pick up the phone, or if you're in distress, or if you have someone coming at you in your household and you need to let somebody know but you can't pick up the phone, you can text or chat. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so that's exactly the point. So not only can you pick up the phone and dial 211 any time of the day or night, you can actually chat with us too. So if you go back to our website, which is www.211treasurecoast.org, there's a Get Help Now button on our main page. If you click that, it will ask if you'd like to chat with one of our representatives through the computer. So you can chat with us via the internet now. And then also you can text us. So if you text your zip code to 898-211.
Say that again, 898. 898-211.
And text us your zip code, because again, we need to be able to find resources located near you. It will pop up like an IM screen, instant message screen to our resource specialist, and we can converse with you via text message.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and also email, but it's help@211PBTC. We take about 48 hours to check that, so it's not the quickest, but texting, chatting, calling us anytime.
I love that. And that means, it's right there. It's getting it done. Applaud 211 for that, because so many people are in need.
Absolutely. And for our youngsters, like you said too, they don't want to pick up the phone, or people could be in domestic violence situations and they cannot physically speak to someone over the phone, and they want to chat with us or they text.
And our rates are so much higher for domestic violence and for child abuse. Children aren't in school anymore. So the eyes that used to look after them and that used to see them and used to see something is wrong is not there. The wife or the girlfriend or even men are being abused now.
Absolutely.
That used to go to work and someone could say, listen, don't go home. Let's help you. That's not there. People are working from home, and they're in such a volatile situation. And just to know that there are other avenues, because a lot in a domestic relationship, they don't want you on the phone. So this is how you can now text.
Absolutely.
You can now chat. So, hats off to 211 for doing that, because it is so needed.
I agree.
Tell us
Thank
more.
You. Yeah, so, the other thing I wanted to mention too is, aside from being a community crisis line and community referral line, we actually have what we call auxiliary programs that we offer. So we alluded to one of them, which was our Sunshine Senior Wellness Program. We do daily phone calls for seniors to check on their well-being. We also have some other really wonderful programs. One is a Help Me Grow program, where we offer free pediatric screenings for kids age 0 to 8. So we find that a lot of residents that live in our communities are not taking their kids to a pediatrician regularly, or they maybe have questions of where their kids are developmentally. So they can call us at 211, ask for a Help Me Grow specialist, and we can do a free ages and stages questionnaire over the phone with that parent. And if we find that there may be a child that could be possibly on the autism spectrum, for example, or maybe have behavioral or developmental delays,
or coming to age 2 and not fully walking.
Yes, we can get them connected to some of our community-based agencies that can be able to provide further support and case management for them.
I definitely like to get some of that, your flyers to put in, because I'm having the mothers, and now this is COVID baby time.
Yes.
So basically everyone that came in today was for a baby and pregnant.
Yeah.
I need to do I need the community come together so we can do a community baby shower.
There you go. Yeah, and they've happened before. I've seen them. I've been at them.
So I've been at a few, but this would be good to do one, because we're needing it. You know?
Absolutely, and it's free.
And we want these babies safe. We give away car seats, and someone has helped me to put me in contact with someone. But when mothers pull up and they're infant, not a couple months old, their infant is not in a car seat.
Sure.
That safety. If they can't afford diapers, some people say, oh, well, they weren't supposed to get pregnant. Hey, God has a plan for everyone. That child is supposed to be here. So as a community, let's rally around as a village, and let's take care of that child.
And that car seat
is a lifesaver. It's a lifesaver.
Yeah.
It's a lifesaver. They need to be in it. The same way that you stop at a stop sign, they need to be in there. So
yeah, and so aside from the Help Me Grow program, we have a veteran crisis support line as well. So it's our My Florida Vet program. So we actually have 2 retired veterans sit on that line and get our veterans and their families really routed to specific VA programs and services that they may not even know or aware. Yeah, exactly. So we do have that program for veterans. We also have a disaster distress line, which is launched actually currently because we're in the COVID-19 pandemic. So what that means is there's a subsection to our website, which is just basically the 211treasurecoast.org/coronavirus. We have launched all of the really wonderful information that people want to know about through this pandemic. So that's the COVID testing sites, the vaccination sites happening in our areas, that's school district information, mental health services, county information, just really everything at your fingertips that anyone would want to have information about through the COVID-19 pandemic. We also launch it too for hurricane season. So if people have questions for an impending storm, if there are evacuation zones,
shelters,
where they can help, special needs, all of that. So we've launched that currently for COVID, and we will launch it again, as we go into a storm, or if we have another shooting at schools, or any sort of catastrophic disaster that happens in our community, we launch that. And then the last thing that we offer is actually something in conjunction to our Sunshine Wellness wellness calls that we do. It's actually for caregivers now. So we have a caregiver project, which we launched probably in October of this last year, that we actually will call out now to caregivers, because we are finding that there are a lot of young adult kids taking care of their parents that are either disabled or unable to work, or we're seeing adult parents taking care of their aging parents that are in their 80s or 90s that, they have such a specific, needs in their lives. So we call out to them every day and make sure they're doing okay and get them connected to our community-based.
They're having PTSD too. It happens. It's not just for veterans. It's not wartime. It happens at so many different levels, and we have to look after our veterans. We have to look after our seniors. We have to look after the people looking after, because it's a stressful time. It's such a stressful time, and we're not able to do the things we normally do.
Absolutely. And you look at, parents and mothers that are staying at home and out of the workforce now, and, all the chaos that they're dealing with their homes, and parents that are stuck at home in general. Yeah. So it's a really wonderful program. Like I said, we just launched it. And if you do know someone that is a caregiver or someone that's a senior that would like those daily calls, please call us at 211. We'd be happy to sign them up.
Well, we're definitely going to. And what is that one?
That's called the Caregiver Project.
The Caregiver Project.
Yes, it's very similar to our Sunshine program, but open to caregivers, specifically over the age of 18. Okay. But, we will go younger. If we have a student that's taking care of their parent that's in the school system, we can certainly work with them.
Well, there are a lot. You know, there are many that we don't know, and a lot of them are afraid to say it because, will they take me away from my mom? I'm looking. Yes. And it's a frightening, and those are the children that call the suicide hotline, because that's what it comes to. You feel you're at the end of your rope. You feel you don't have any help. So therefore, that is my only option. And if anyone is listening with the sound of our voice, that is not your only option. That is not. There's so many resources out here, and we want people to take care of it. And that's why we do this show. This is the science of caring, and there's so many resources, and we want to put you out there to them and let you know they are here for you.
Absolutely.
So I have another question for you.
Okay.
What do you wish you had known when you first started out at 211?
Wow. Okay. Wow.
I go deep,
You've
honey.
got some deep questions.
Yes.
I was not prepared for this.
This is not a foo-foo show.
No,
this
is
a
not.
real show. We want people to think. We want people to think, and we want people to know the guests that I have on here, they are capable, they are educational, they know their stuff, and we want you to know when you call out, you're getting good help.
I would say probably the biggest thing is just the multitude of needs that we see in the community. I think I had my shutters on a little bit before I came to 211, being in my own wheelhouse around my, own family and friends, and not truly understanding the depth of needs that we're seeing. And you see it every day too. But it's
sometimes I still get shocks. Things can still shock me sometimes.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's truly incredible. And the multifaceted needs that we're seeing of not only housing, not only career development, not only food security, it is the full gamut.
Yeah.
And I think especially too, not to go on a complete diversion, but we're dealing with a lot of like racial inequities as well. And I think that again, with me and my shutters of, living my life as a white, middle-aged person, and seeing how different walks of life live and going through that was really impactful to me. Yeah.
And what you thought was the stereotype of one wasn't that
bias,
because a lot of people come to me and they say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go there, people, I'm gonna go there. Many people come and say, oh, Roxy, the African American community, they need to really come off the the SNAP program and the food stamps, and that's really taking up the budget for our country, and we're just looking after them. And I go, no, you're not.
And too, the migrant community. Yeah. We have such a strong migrant community in South Florida, and just navigating the legal system, and there's just so many ways to look at it that I think, again, for me, I had my shutters up and not really truly understanding or maybe even believing that existed. And
because we're going to throw some numbers out here since you mentioned it. The majority of individuals that are on SNAP or benefits or welfare are normally Caucasians.
Yeah.
And I know some people are like, oh no, she's lying, I'm going to call in. And that is true. That is true. Depending on where I am to give showers, 90% of the individuals Care Bag gives showers to are Caucasian. Now, if I go to West Palm Beach, that might change now to maybe 50 to 60%, depending on where I go. But people need to really be educated on the facts. When you have the blinders on, I had blinders on a lot of things. My blinder was, oh, if you're homeless, you can get up, get a job. No, you cannot. If you can't get a bath, what business is going to have you walk in and deal with their clientele?
Absolutely.
What business are, and there is no, we talked about it last week, there is no shelter. There's no shelter, which you know.
Yeah.
So when everyone called me, well, I called 211 and they said you got a shelter. I said, no, they called you because they want me to help you.
Right.
Show you and guide you where you have to go.
Sure.
So you get the calls, I get the calls. And it's for people to really open their eyes and to know, what's going on.
Yeah, and just that this exists in your backyard.
Yes.
There's so many people that, South Florida is a vacation. It is a second home. It is for snowbirds. We have so many people struggling. So hard. Students, out of towners. I mean, it's everything.
Just students. At IRSC, I've gone to IRSC, and before we had over 100 homeless students. They're students.
Yeah.
There are students that are homeless that want that education to come out of the situation they are in. But then again, where are they going to get that shower? So we call them couch surfers, as you know.
Yeah.
They go to a friend's house here, a friend's house there. So there's so many. Oh, we can do this show again. There just so many facets to just people need. But we want them to know that, there is help.
There's help
you
available.
Do not suffer alone. And there's the one-stop shop, I'm going to call it, that you can dial 211.
Yes.
And you can get that essential community services that you need. We're almost coming to our time. One second to last question. What is your favorite memory related to anything that you've seen at 211? What's the one memory that stood out the most? That made you feel good?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. Again, going back to the standout event, that was a really personally changing event for me.
Yeah.
Just to see how it's amazing being a community relations representative and going and having my resources available and having conversations with people, but to see those veterans stand in line and have their lives changed to get a fresh pair of boots and a tent.
Or a shower.
And a shower.
I got one guy jumped off, cut himself because he was so happy, and I panicked.
It makes me want to cry, honestly, because it really touches you.
Conversation gets really good when I see Cliff giving me the finger. Then the finger is the 2 and the 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So, this has been, Colleen, this has been just wow.
Yeah.
Just really wow. Just so that we can share this information. Thank you so much for being our guest on Careology. And we loved it. And we're going to go ahead and put your information up on our Facebook page. So if anyone wants to get it, they can. In the next 48, 72 hours, Cliff, we'll be able to have that information up on our YouTube that we can share.
Maybe by tomorrow night.
Maybe by tomorrow. You never know. He's a multitasker.
I got to tell you this. While I'm back here producing, I'm looking at your tablet, which is feeding the video to Facebook. And I see a lot of folks responding with little hearts. Can you see what they're doing?
Yeah, I see them.
So
they're loving it, yeah.
Thank you for the hearts, guys.
I was wondering how you were knowing what they were asking.
Oh, before we go, I got one important question I just saw, and this is from someone. What is the minimum age requirement to call, or can children call as well?
Children can call. Does not anyone.
I knew it, but I wanted you to say it.
Thank you for saying, and thank you whoever messaged that. Yes, anyone, any demographic, any walk of life. We get calls from kids all the time.
Yeah, you need help.
Call.
Do not be alone. Do not
Please.
be alone. So we're going to have you back because I know there's so many more questions. So what we just want to say is I've definitely enjoyed the show, and I hope you did also. And if you want to hear what we're going to talk about next week we're talking about gun safety for children. This is going to be a hot topic. It's going to be good to keep your children safe. Too many children are dying. So come back again at 6:05 next week, and you can find us on WPSL.com. You can find us on Alexa, TuneIn, Facebook Live, on our Facebook page, and you can go ahead and you can text us to Care Radio 77222. Good night, and remember, Careology is for you, for a new you. See you next week, Tuesday. God bless, and have a great evening. Thank you so much,
science.
Thanks for
Colleen.
having me.
You're welcome.
Science of caring.
The science of
What
caring.
a concept.
There you go.
All right.
This is how we do it. Have a
All
good
right.
night, everyone. Appreciate you.
And this is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast, webcaster to the world. Google Home, Alexa, and tune in.